This is for you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game live here on Dime Dropper for the 2024 NBA playoffs. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure to follow your boy on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and at Dime Dropper Pod. And, of course, the most important thing, please subscribe on YouTube for all things NBA, NBA history, LA sports. If you are on Twitter right now, please do me a favor and come to YouTube. That's where I can read your comments. That's where I make my money. That is where I need you because I'm trying to hit 15,000 subscribers. So come to YouTube. I've posted the link all over my Twitter. And we are live from Los Angeles. And let me tell you something. Finally, we are talking about games that just happened. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I was talking about games that happened like a couple days before and whatnot. And I finally caught up. It was a tedious process. I've literally spent all of my last couple of days at work, coming from work, just trying to watch all the games whenever I can. And I've now successfully watched every single game of this postseason. And last year we failed at that goal because we missed games 3, 4, and 5 of the Wolves series against the Nuggets. And we missed game 4, Nets and Sixers. But this season, we have not missed a game, and we are back live. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the final game of the Celtics Cavs series. We're going to be talking about Knicks Pacers game 6 from tonight, and then Minnesota Denver game 6, and last but certainly not least, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. Let's begin with the Celtics and the Cavs. Now, I talked about how devastating and unfortunate it was that the Cavaliers didn't have Donovan Mitchell. Through 3 games, he looked like arguably the best player in the entire series. And this was a valiant effort by the Cavs, like extremely valiant. You got to give him all the credit in the world. It's such a shame that Donovan Mitchell got hurt. And it wasn't just Donovan Mitchell that ended up getting hurt. It was also Karis LeVert that got hurt. So it was just extremely difficult for them to create good shots. But as far as the Celtics, I was looking at it from their perspective because it was kind of like similar situation with the Heat series. You're up 3-1. You've got to finish them off, show your killer instinct, and just whoop them. And it was the same matchups. They still had Tatum on Mobley so they could switch that pick and roll. Jaylen Brown was guarding Dean Wade, who was starting in place of Karis LeVert. Then on the other side, same old. Max Strus was the main defender on Jason Tatum, and then Okoro on Jaylen Brown. Derek White, he really got the festivities going with 10 points, 2 threes early. And as I always say about Derek White, he just plays within the flow of the offense, doesn't really force things too much. Yes, he had that one game. I believe it was game 3. Oh, no, it was game 2 where he just kind of was chucking. But I don't remember if it was game 2 or game 3, but nice start for him in this game. As far as the defensive schemes, Evan Mobley was in drop coverage like he so often is. Luke Cornett was also in drop coverage. And then Darius Garland and Sam Merrill were hedging on the Jays on the screen. So not switching, just showing and then recovering. I thought the Cavs were competing from the get-go. I mean, Max Strus had a hell of a first quarter with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. But you know who really shocked me? It was the funniest thing ever. Marcus Morris Sr. comes into this game and has 7 points in the first quarter, had an and 1, made a 3, just out of nowhere. And then the only real standout for the Celtics in that first quarter was Derek White. It was deadlocked 28-28 after 1. And my only thought was the Celtics are going to turn it on because the Cavs are going to cool down. That's what my thought was. The Cavs are going to cool down. I want to say this about the Cavaliers too. Even not to say that Donovan Mitchell was playing bad defense in any way, but when they don't have him and then you add in, like say, a Dean Wade, your defensive personnel inherently gets better because the only like weak link is Darius Garland. Evan Mobley is fantastic. Strus and Okoro are very solid. And then you add Dean Wade into the equation. I mean, one-on-one, they do a pretty good job of staying in front. And besides Garland, they're switching a lot of that action. So, like, if Evan Mobley is guarding Al Horford and then Dean Wade's guarding Tatum, and then Dean Wade says, here, Al, come set a screen for me, they'll switch that easily because Dean Wade is strong enough to guard Al Horford. Al Horford at this age is not going to go take him in the post. And then Jason Tatum and Evan Mobley can guard everybody. The concern with switching is not to have Evan Mobley be in a mismatch situation guarding the perimeter. It's whoever's guarding the interior, can they rebound and do things of that nature. But also you do want to keep Evan Mobley around the rim if you're the team that has Evan Mobley, because he's such a good shot blocker and rim deterrent. Marcus Morris at one point had 7 straight points. That was, kind of leading an 18-6 Cavs run. Al Horford was still missing open threes, but finally hit his second of the game after missing a couple. And then the Celtics went with a very interesting strategy that ended up working for the rest of the game. Al Horford was switching onto Darius Garland. Like, straight up, Al Horford switching on a Darius Garland, and he was doing a good job staying in front, blocking shots from behind. I was really impressed with what's it called? Yeah, I was very impressed with Al Horford. His rim protection, the way he was guarding Evan Mobley down there as well. And there was a spell where the Cavs didn't score a point for 3.5 minutes. It was a 13-2 Celtics run. And Al Horford was really just kind of anchoring that. And I thought he was doing all the little things. And then, you also have Derek White and Drew Holiday out there guarding. But Jason Tatum at the Celtics' last 7 points to end the quarter, including a step back 3. And at halftime, as far as the second quarter, the Celtics outscored the Cavs 30-24. They shot well in the quarter, 50% from the field and 46 from 3. That's the Celtics, of course. But the Cavs, they shot really well from the field as well. 50% and 56% from 3, but they did turn the ball over 4 times. Nobody on the Cavs in the quarter had more than 7 points. And guess who had 7? Marcus Morris Sr. For the Celtics, nobody had over 7 points either for them in the quarter. And at halftime, the way I felt was they looked okay. You saw more of what you wanted to see in the second quarter. And if you see more of that, you're going to blow them out. Derek White had 15 at halftime. Marcus Morris had 14 at halftime. Darius Garland not doing quite enough. Now, of course, all eyes were on him. He's going to get some of the best defenders, perimeter defenders in the league on him. 9 points on 3 for 9 shooting. That's not exactly that great. And only 1 assist too. So needed to do a little bit more. As far as the Celtics, Tatum with 12 and Derek White with 15 were the only Celtics in double figures at the half. Third quarter, Horford and Jason Tatum really doing it all. 11-0 run in just 2 minutes. Al knocking down shots, defending at the rim, switching on a Garland and holding his own, making the extra pass. And then I just love the aggression in these last 3 games from Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown as well, but Jason Tatum has really made an effort to get to the basket, put his head down, and also just take advantage of his size against smaller guys. He played the entire third quarter, and he had 10 points and 4 assists to go along with 2 steals and no turnovers. That's just in 1 quarter alone. He was in go mode. And then Al Horford, 5 points, 3 boards, and an assist on 2 for 2 shooting in that quarter. So the Celtics, they outscored the Cavs 27-26 in the quarter. They couldn't create too much separation because the defense of the Cavs, man, as I always say, if you can defend, even if your offense, isn't going great and you're playing against a good defense, you can stay in games if you defend. You can stay in games. And the Cavaliers did exactly that. And 3 guys that played the entire third quarter for the Cavs were Darius Garland, Max Strus, and Evan Mobley. And Evan Mobley was doing such a great job on the roll, finishing around the basket. One thing about Evan Mobley, for being only a one and done, he has very solid fundamentals, really good footwork, good jump hooks over both hands. The thing about Evan Mobley is what I want to see next is him able to get the ball on the block or even a little bit further than the block, back his man down and get to jump hooks and have like a real post bag consistently, not just you get the ball on the roll, you're around the restricted area and you can make a little move there because you've already received the ball so close to the basket, and or just against smaller guys. If he can do it against guys his size, because right now he's a very good play finisher. If he can be now a play initiator, that's what makes him take the next step into becoming a star every single year, because defensively, he's got the stuff. So Evan Mobley, remember, I love Evan Mobley because USC got my Trojans to the Elite Eight for the first time in my time watching college basketball. So that's pretty cool. 13 in the third quarter for Evan. Marcus Morris Sr. was still playing awesome. It's kind of wild. 5 points in the third. And the Cavs were just working so hard. Just this is their season on the line, so it's the least you could expect. But Darius Garland, well, he didn't score in the third quarter, 0 for 4. He had 6 assists, so he's making stuff happen in that pick and roll. As I said, you had Horford switching sometimes, and there were times where Horford switched, and then, Garland would still attract the second defender because the Celtics players are not going to trust Al Horford on an island like that. And so he created good shots that way. But also Luke Cornett, when he was in drop coverage, Darius Garland did a pretty good job putting him in the pick and roll, finding good shots. Jason Tatum, he had 10 points in the third quarter, as I already said. And so the only thing I was thinking for the C's was you just got to get stops. The Celtics have this tendency to kind of play down to the level of their competition on the defensive end, where they just don't play as physical and as tenacious as they can. And I feel like they haven't truly been tested like that throughout this postseason, even yet. And, I just knew that once they get stops, get good shots every time down, value possessions, they're going to be fine. And then all of a sudden they just exploded. Derek White hits a 3, Horford hits a 3, and it all comes from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being aggressive, drawing second defenders, kicking the ball out, and then the Celtics defense is just moving it. Celtics offense is just moving it. Cavs are in rotation, and then boom, you're screwed. When Tatum made a 3 to make it 101-87, they called a timeout. I have to say Al Horford, he was even attacking closeouts and making plays. Like, such a special way that he affects games still at his age. For me, somebody who, I know it's cliche and just kind of whack to say somebody deserves a ring. You got to go out and get it. But I think Al Horford's very professional. He's always helped teams win. I would like, even though it's going to be annoying if the Celtics win a ring because my friend's going to just be so annoying, I would be very happy for Al Horford if he got a championship. It was really cool seeing him finally make the finals in 2022. There's only one thing left to do. Oh, man. Was that it? Is that all I have for this game? By the way, they were putting Garland in the pick and roll a lot. And I have to say, there were some times where Darius Garland, like when the whole scheme is for him to show and then recover, right? But when he shows, he's got to stay in front of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown until the guy that's actually guarding him can get back in front, and then he recovers. He has to concede, potentially letting Derek White or Drew Holiday, whoever he's guarding, get the ball, as opposed to Jason Tatum, their best player, walking into threes or getting downhill. And that happened several times, not just in this game, but throughout the series. So Darius Garland, bro, you're just kind of leaving early and letting Jason Tatum walk into threes. That's not necessarily the smartest strategy in the world. The Celtics got it done. Al Horford became the oldest player in playoff history with 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus threes. Drew Holiday, after having a pretty quiet game overall, and I love that he didn't force things, 11 in the fourth quarter. So these last 3 games, Drew has played really well, and that's exactly what you want to see going into the conference finals. Drew Holiday making it to the conference finals yet again. Obviously made it in 2021. I believe that was his first time making it to the conference finals, and he hasn't made it back since. So this is just his second time in his career doing it. Happy for him. Al Horford had 8 points in the fourth, and the Jays had 6 assists between the two of them in the fourth quarter. And that was all she wrote. The C's outscored the Cavs 28-20 in that quarter and won Game 5, 113-98. Took care of business, 4 games to 1. Let's read the lines. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, they shot 48% from the field, 42% from 3, 75% from the line. Boston, though, just shot a little bit better in every category. 52.5% from the field, 44% from three, 83% from the line. What does that come down to? They just had better players. That is nothing else to say. If you're a Cavs fan, you got to be so happy with the way they gave their all. George Niang played 8 minutes, and man, he could not make a shot this series, could he? 0 for 3. All his shots were threes. Tristan Thompson had a donut, didn't even get a shot off in 4.5 minutes, had 3 rebounds. Sam Merrill had a pretty good stretch. He had 9 points and 2 rebounds on 3 for 5 from the field, and all those shots were threes. And Marcus Morris having 25 points in a playoff game in 2024. I mean, geez, like I don't even know what to say. 10 for 13 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3. Shout out to Mook. Can't believe it. In 33.5 minutes. Isaac Okoro only played 12.5 minutes, and he actually was shooting well in this game. 5 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist on 2 for 4 from the field and 1 for 1 from 3. And then you had Dean Wade, who played 21.5 minutes. He had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers on 1 for 3 shooting, 1 for 2 from 3. Max Strus did not shoot very well, but man, he almost had a triple-double. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Got a lot of assists on like dribble handoffs where he drew 2 defenders and stuff like that. 3 for 10 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. So all his made shots were threes. 3 for 3 from the foul line in 45 minutes. So man, he played a ton. And then you had Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. I'm going to start with Darius Garland, who just didn't shoot well enough to create a game 6. Didn't play well enough because he needed to shoot well to create a game 6. 11 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers on 4 for 17 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul line in 44 minutes. I thought he got some pretty good looks throughout the night. Just didn't fall. He's a smaller guard. How about the Celtics? Sam Hauser played 10 minutes, had 5 points on 2 for 4 from the field and 1 for 3 from deep. Also had 4 rebounds and an assist. Luke Cornett played 12 minutes, 8 points, 1 rebound on 3 for 3 shooting, 2 for 2 from the line. So he didn't miss a shot. He was very solid in this series, just giving some solid effort on both ends of the floor. Peyton Pritchard played 21 minutes. Nice little spark plug game for him, getting in double figures with 11 points on 4 for 7 shooting and 3 for 4 from 3. Then arguably the best starting lineup in the league. Should we begin with Al Horford? Nah, not really. Let's begin with Derek White. Played 36 minutes, had 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks and no turnovers on 7 for 17 shooting, 4 for 9 from 3. You know, I think, and obviously plays good defense. I think Derek White, he was a little quiet the last couple of games, woke back up in this one. But again, I think it's not like he's not trying or he's not playing as well as he can. I think he's just playing within the flow of the offense, and then sometimes his shots aren't going to fall. But the thing about guys like Derek White, they always do the right things on the basketball floor, and they're going to play good defense. So they're the kind of guys that are going to win championships. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. The Celtics team, they have the stuff, but we'll see how they do. It's all about closing games and Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all that. How about Drew Holiday? 13 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. He did turn the ball over 3 times, though, which was a quarter of their turnovers. 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line. So he didn't shoot well from 3, but he shot well from the field, and you'll take that all day. 41 minutes. You know what Drew gives you on the defensive end. He wasn't shot hunting in this game at all, just playing within the flow of the offense, and he gives you so much. Then you've got Jaylen Brown. Only shot 9 times in this game, and this is just the beauty of this Celtics team. They have so much talent, and they don't need Jaylen Brown to shot hunt because Derek White can go off for 18 points, and Drew Holiday can go off for 15 points. You know, they can get it by committee. However, Jaylen Brown is just, he's going to obviously have to score more than 11 points in future rounds, but he's not averaging 11 points. So it doesn't matter. He had 11 in this game, though, 4 rebounds and 7 assists to go along with a steal and a block. He also had a quarter of the turnovers for the C's with 3. He was 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the foul line. But the 7 assists, that's more than normal. So that tells you, okay, he only shot 9 times, but he made plays for other guys. 41 minutes played. And then you had Jason Tatum, 1 assist away from a triple-double. He played amazing in games 3, 4, and 5. And he's going into the conference finals in great form, looking focused. How about the way he's been rebounding in this postseason? 25, 10, and 9 for JT to go along with 4 steals, just 1 turnover on 9 for 16 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, and 4 of 4 from the line in 43 minutes. When Tatum's playing like that, to me, he's a top 5 player in the NBA, probably 5th, but he's right there. And then the player of the game for me, Al Horford. Who would have thought, after being in such a slump shooting the ball from 3, 22 points, 15 rebounds, including 7 offensive rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, 3 blocks, did have 4 turnovers though, but shot 8 for 15 from the field and 6 for 13 from 3. I mean, wow. What a performance by Al Horford. And that doesn't even show like the way he was guarding Darius Garland on switches. So unbelievable stuff from Al. Let's just talk real quick about both teams in an overview sense. Cleveland, I think this was a really good season for them. They took a step forward. They showed that they learned from the experience that they had last year against the Knicks. Jarrett Allen didn't even get to finish the series against Orlando, and they still won because Evan Mobley, even before Jarrett Allen went down, and there's going to be a lot of offseason conversation on should Evan Mobley be the 5 because he did so well in this series against Boston. But I think that even before Jarrett Allen went down, they were playing great, and they clearly looked like they got tougher, whether physically or mentally. They were so much more aggressive than the way that they got kind of bitched last year by the Knicks. And experience is the best teacher. I always say in the playoffs, people always talk about stats, this, stats, that. This isn't tangible. I mean, this is a game of human beings, not a game of robots playing on a spreadsheet with numbers. There's a lot of numbers involved, but these are real people with life experiences and thoughts going through their head. And the experience of losing, I think that was big for them. And they took it around further. And you know what? This would have been a series. I think the Celtics would have definitely won, but this would have been a series had Donovan not gone down. He was playing at such a high level. And as well as Jason Tatum played the last 3 games, Donovan Mitchell was playing the best of anybody in this series through 3 games. Donovan Mitchell redeemed himself for the last 2 years where he was pouring the playoffs. And I really think this Cleveland team, I am against smaller guards being your best scorers and winning championships. So I do think Donovan Mitchell will find out that one day that he can't be the best part of a championship team. But until he finds that out, and we're still trying it out, I mean, there's no better place to be than right there in Cleveland. There's so much talk about what's he going to do. He's a unrestricted free agent after next year. Man, I'm telling you, Cleveland went from first round to second round. Run it back. Evan Mobley, we have a star in the making here. All he's got to do is keep refining his post game and continue to get better shooting the ball. And I mean, oh my God, you're going to have, and Darius Garland, there's all this talk about Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I do agree that having like 2 guys that are just basically pick and roll and just the only movement off the ball is going to be catch and shoot. They're not really going to move off the ball. Their only off-ball contributions are really just going to be catch and shoot. I mean, they're not necessarily the best complement for one another, but at the same time, that team only has those guys and Karis LeVert to create shots. So like Darius Garland still gets his fair share of touches, I think. And Darius Garland is by no means a number 1 option on any more than a first round team. So if that. So I wouldn't be so greedy if I were them. Keep playing with each other. Like if Donovan Mitchell wants to be a number 1 option, Cleveland is the place to be. They have a good team. Evan Mobley, do you think Darius Garland has peaked in year 6? I do think he didn't improve since last year. I really don't see any improvement. But I think you gotta, what's it called? Believe in these guys that you drafted. There's too much talk going on about Cleveland moving guys and stuff. And I wonder, man, Donovan, if he wants to just leave because he wants to go to a big city, that's so weak. And honestly, if I'm the Cavs, I know they don't want another LeBron situation to happen where they don't trade him and then they lose him for nothing. Honestly, I would take a gamble with Donovan and just let it play out next season and see how you're doing midway through it. If you feel like Donovan's going to leave, because in Utah, again, with Utah, it was obvious he wanted to go. You could tell that throughout that 2022 season. But man, his body language on the court doesn't show of someone that doesn't want to be there. But anyway, let's read some of the stats for the Cleveland Cavaliers in this series. Evan Mobley averaged 21 and 9 on 63% shooting in this series. I mean, come on. That was great. Donovan averaged 32, 6 and 5 when he was healthy. Darius Garland, 17 points and 6 assists on 40-31 splits. That's not quite good enough. Max Strus shot 35% from the field, but he shot 38 from 3. I don't know how to feel about that. Isaac Okoro shot 36% from the field and 28 from 3. Sam Merrill shot 26% from the field and 29% from 3. George Niang shot 12.5% from 3. So, like, these role players, they did not hit. So, even though they've improved their three-point shooting a little bit, they still didn't improve it enough. The Celtics in this series, Jason Tatum averaged 27, 10, and 6. That's 10 rebounds and 6 assists and 2 steals. He didn't shoot very well from 3, though, 27%. But, man, I think he was very good. Jaylen Brown, 23 points, 6 boards on 59, 43, 75 splits. Whew, you'll take that. Derek White, 14, 4, and 4 on 38, 39, 86 splits. Drew Holiday shot really well in this series. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 4 dimes, a steal, a block on 51% from the field, 40 from 3. So you'll take that. I also wanted to read the Cavaliers' playoff stats because why not? They did play some playoff ball. 12 games to be exact. Donovan Mitchell averaged 30, 29.6 if you want to be accurate, but 26, 5, and 5. 35 and 5, I should say, on 48, 35, 81.5 splits. He was amazing. It was great to see it. Darius Garland, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 43% from the field, 35 from 3. That's not quite good enough. It's lower than your regular season averages. Mobley, it averaged out to 16 and 9. So I bet that's like a season average, right? 16 and 9. Let's see. 16 and 9. Yeah, it's about the same. But man, Jared Allen, he was averaging 17 and 14. That's crazy. Yeah, Isaac Okoro still had kind of a rough time. But anyway, I still think it was a good season for them. As far as Boston, well, you've done it. Conference finals for the 6th time in 8 years. Jason Tatum has been there now 6 times already. Actually, no, we're talking. Yes, whoa, 6th time in 8 years. Jason Tatum has been there 5 times, though. 2018, 2020, 2022, last year, and then this year. Man, is he going to get it done? He's got to, man. They've got to do this. I mean, listen, I'm going to say this. I am a little bit bitter. I know you have to just play who's in front of you, but I am a little bit bitter that the Celtics played 2 teams that didn't have their best player. When is this kind of stuff going to happen for the Clippers? Every single time, it's never the Clippers that have this kind of luck with the injuries. It's always the other team. Boston, and then they're going to play the banged up Knicks potentially without OG and Randall and Robinson. Come on. I don't want the Celtics to win a championship like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I know what they're going to say, and it's very valid. It's like, who's going to talk about that shit 20 years from now? Yeah, you're right. They're not. But, here's the thing, though. If the Celtics beat a Denver Nuggets team in the finals healthy, they deserve to win it. But anyway, by the way, before we move on to the next game, I see 33 people on Twitter and 18 on YouTube. Please join me on YouTube. I actually make my money here. This is where you need to be. I want to get 15,000 subscribers. So please come to YouTube. I've posted the link in every single way, shape, or form for you guys on my Twitter. So go find it and come. All right. Now we're going to talk about the Wolves and the Nuggets game 6. Sorry, audio people. I was just getting some water. Super chats are turned on, by the way, if you want to drop $1 or a dime. This game was an absolute joke. The Minnesota Timberwolves were down 9-2 in the beginning. And by the way, they still had Cat guarding Jokic, not Gobert. They just had a little bit too much adrenaline in the beginning. By the way, Conley was back, and boy, was he back. The Wolves beat the shit out of them. They played with a sense of desperation on both ends throughout the game, and the Nuggets just missed a bunch of shots all in one stretch where they had a bunch of great looks from 3, but just could not make a 3. And the Wolves just ran on them like crazy, kind of like you saw in the first 2 games. And granted, they were playing great defense. Cat was playing really solid defense. Gobert was doing a solid job protecting the rim and playing in help. And they were all doing a good job rotating and running them off the three-point line and making them, go to options C and D in a possession. But the Nuggets were just missing a lot of shots too. I'm being real. The Nuggets were just missing a ton of shots, and the Wolves were just pushing. But I have to say, it started with a 9-0 run, and the guy that really began things and just continued to be amazing, for me, it's either him or Ant-Man player of the game, Jaden McDaniels. Absolutely amazing defense. He's been shooting really poorly in this series, but the thing about a guy like Jaden McDaniels, they can shoot poorly and still contribute to win because they play defense and do all the little things. And those are the kind of guys that win chips that I would take on my team. The guys that guard number one options. And the crazy part is he's not even guarding the number one option in this series on the perimeter. That's Anthony Edwards guarding Jamal Murray. I mean, talk about a best player on your team, guarding Jamal Murray all series and then doing all that offensively, carrying your offense. Something special about that guy. But Jaden, it started when he hit a corner three. Then after that, he poked the ball away and Ant got a dunk. I'm pretty sure he had a putback layup or kept the possession alive. Everything Jaden McDaniels was doing was turning into gold. I mean, the Wolves players, it felt like games 1 and 2 where they were constantly getting the Nuggets defense in rotation, and you saw the talent of Minnesota, the amount of guys that can put the ball on the floor with athleticism and size that you have to account for. I mean, it's tough to guard sometimes. A 20-0 run by the Minnesota Timberwolves. It extended into a 27-2 run, and after one, they were up by a score of 31-14. It was brutal. The Nuggets were shooting 27% from the field and 22 from three. Jokic and KCP played the entire quarter. Jokic was just 3 for 8 from the field, and Ant-Man had 14 in the first. He was playing with a sense of desperation and attack mode. McDaniels and Towns also played the entire first. Towns had 4 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists in the first quarter, and they had 4 offensive rebounds in the first. So they were just playing with a level of physicality and desperation that you needed to win a game. And the Nuggets, they were just blitzed completely. And I was looking at this game from a Wolves perspective because, I mean, losing 4 games in a row. I had Nuggets in 7 before the series, so I got to go to my pick. And I thought they were doing a really good job defending at a high level and pushing pace. As far as the Nuggets, they were just missing open shots and turning it over. Second quarter, when Ant-Man was out, Jokic led a nice little Nuggets push that cut it down to 35-24. Then the second Ant-Man came back in the game, 8-0 run. Naz Reid is getting to the basket. He's attacking. And the thing I noticed about the Wolves in this game is it felt like every single time they could try to get downhill, they would. They were trying to put pressure on the defense, trying to make Jokic protect the rim. And I have nothing to say about Jokic defensively in this game. Nothing good, I should say. Nothing. It wasn't awful, but there was no resistance at the rim. 8-0 run after the 35-24 Nuggets cut it down to. Ant was cooking. It actually extended to a 13-0 run right when he returned. And as I said, they were just relentlessly attacking the basket. It's funny because they only outscored the Nuggets in the second quarter 28-26. Jokic had 10 in the second. He was really the only Nugget playing well in my eyes. And at halftime, the Minnesota Timberwolves were up 59-40. At this point, it still felt like the Nuggets weren't completely done yet. MPJ was shooting 50%, but he only had 6 shots. Jokic had 16 points and 5 rebounds at the half, but only 1 assist. So they wanted to limit that. They did a bit. 7 for 14, though. He was shooting 50%. The 3 ball is really what sticks out for me. By the way, Jamal Murray 1 for 10 in the first half. So we've seen a lot of that throughout this postseason where Jamal Murray is just not hitting in the first half. They shot 4 for 21 from 3 in the first half. The Wolves didn't even shoot that well. That's the crazy part. 42% from the field, 24 from 3 in the first half. Cat was 3 for 9 and 0 for 4 from 3, but he had 10 rebounds at halftime and 4 assists. McDaniels had 13 at the half. Ant-Man had 19. So there you go. And then in the third quarter, they just completely blew it open. Jaden McDaniels all over the place, both ends of the floor. There was one clip where they were showing like a collage or montage of the Wolves defense, and it was just all Jaden McDaniels. And they didn't even specify, but it was all Jaden McDaniels affecting it. Murray started to get going just a little bit. in that third quarter. He had 8 points in it. But the Nuggets bench, that's been a huge difference in games 3, 4, and 5 and games 1 and 2. The Nuggets bench, guys like Christian Brown, Justin Holiday, they've come in, even Reggie for some stretches, have come in and given them something. They've given them absolutely nothing in games, or they gave them absolutely nothing in game 6. They got outscored 27-21 in the third. Jaden McDaniels had 8 points in the third quarter alone and played the entire quarter with Karl Anthony Towns. And the fourth quarter, it was in the refrigerator. It was done. And, oh, my God, the Nuggets scored 9 points in the fourth. Yikes, they're bench warmers. 29-9 in the fourth for the Wolves. The final score, 115-70, a 45-point drubbing that the Nuggets should be absolutely embarrassed about. I know you were missing shots, but Jesus Christ. You didn't come out with any sense of like killer instinct of trying to close these guys out. Now you're leaving it up to one game with a very dangerous player in the Ant-Man. It's going to be absolute cinema. It's what I predicted from the start. Nuggets in 7. But wow, Sunday's going to be a movie. This series has been awesome. Have we had a close game, though? We haven't. We haven't had one really close game. Game 7, baby. Oh, my God, imagine. Oh, we need it. It's been such high-level hoops. It's felt like a conference finals more so than a second round. I am somewhat rooting for the Denver Nuggets because I picked them. I would be happy for the Wolves making it to the conference finals. I can't even lie. I would definitely be happy for them. But I don't want them to win more than 2 games in the conference finals. So then they would have won more games than the Clippers in the conference finals, which means they then have another argument to be better than us all time as a franchise. And I don't want that because I like moving up the ladder. You know, when I first became a Clipper fan, we were dead last. Now we've accomplished a little bit more than some teams, including Minnesota. But, it's Joker's time. And I want Jamal Murray to go off. People are talking a little bit reckless about him. Because I have to say he has been inconsistent. Let's get into the lines right away then. Let's read the quick ones for the Nuggets bench players. Reggie Jackson, 0 for 6. Didn't register in any category. Justin Holiday, 0 for 5. Christian Brown, 1 for 6. So a combined 1 for 17 between those guys. Yeah, that's rough. KCP, 2 for 6. All his shots were threes. 9 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. I got nothing good to say about him in this one. Aaron Gordon, he was pretty good. I can't lie. He's not bad. 12 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line. He's had a great series. MPJ, not great. 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, 8.6 boards. I have a feeling he's going to play well in game 7, though. And then Jamal Murray, awful. And he's had way too many of these kind of games where he's getting the shots that he normally makes. Granted, the Wolves defense is amazing, but we know what Jamal Murray can do. He's won a championship by making shots against the highest level of defense in the league. He can do that. He's done it in game 3 and 4 and 5. He's going to have to do it in game 7, and I hope he does because people are starting to talk a little reckless. Man, 10 points, 5 assists, 2 turnovers on 4 for 18 shooting. And 2 for 7 from 3. And then, yeah, it's bad. Nikola Jokic, 22 points, 9 rebounds, just 2 assists, 3 turnovers on 9 for 19 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the line. Obviously, you're going to need better from Jokic, but didn't get much help, although defensively he can be better. For the Wolves, they shot 46.5% from the field, 37.5% from 3, 20 for 24 from the foul line. They shot 10 more free throws than the Denver Nuggets. Kyle Anderson had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. 0 for 2 from the field. All 4 of his points came from the foul line. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 17 minutes played, 9 points, 1 assist, 3 for 5 from the field, and all his shots were threes. Naz Reid, a double-double. 10 points, 11 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal on 4 for 12 shooting, and 0 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line in 22 minutes. And then Mike Conley, solid bounce back game. His pick and roll play allowed Ant-Man to be off the ball. And then so when you get the Nuggets defense in rotation, then Ant-Man is now attacking closeouts. So that really can be beneficial. Ant-Man, 27 points. I'm sorry, Conley, 13 points, 4 boards, 5 assists, 1 block. I remember it too, from behind. No turnovers on 5 for 9 shooting and 3 for 6 from 3. 31 minutes played. Just a winner. It's high IQ ball. It was great having him back. And he's 1 game away from his second ever conference finals. Jaden McDaniels, for me, my player of the game. 21 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and no turnovers on 80% shooting, 8 for 10, 3 for 5 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line in 30 minutes and 30 seconds. He was spectacular, spectacular. And then Rudy Gobert, 8 points, 14 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a turnover on 4 for 8 shooting. I thought he was very solid, very solid. He's had his best postseason to me of his career. And here's a fun fact about Rudy. He's never been this close to the conference finals in his entire career. How about the Ant-Man? He is playing at such a high level. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, just 1 turnover on 8 for 17 shooting, 4 for 9 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the line. 34 minutes. This guy is special. He's younger than me. He is a man-child. He's got the Wolves 1 game away from greatness. It's going to be an amazing game on Sunday. I cannot wait. But I can because life is precious and I enjoy every day of it. Now we are going to talk about the game tonight. And it was a joke, to be honest. The New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Look, man, there's not much to talk about when it comes to schemes. I don't think there was much scheme adjusting. I think it was really hard to see Josh Hart take that abdominal injury. It looked like a rib injury for a sec. By the way, the Wolves went on a 24-0 run at one point in that second half. But, man, it was really tough to watch. Deuce was guarding Halliburton. It didn't really make much of a difference. Miles Turner was in drop coverage. Brunson was hedging. Tyrese was hedging on the screens. Hart in drop coverage. The only thing I could say good about the Knicks is that Deuce McBride got off to a good start, picking and popping for threes. Hit 3 threes in the first quarter. But Hart was really laboring. And that was tough because, remember, you're already missing Randall. You're already missing OG. You're already missing, what's his name? Mitchell Robinson. And I was honestly watching this game from a Pacers fan perspective because they don't have OG. The Pacers should force a game 7. They absolutely should. And, man, I have to say, Pascal Siakam was so great in this game. Looking to be aggressive all night long. We've talked about it in this series at length. So, see, now that I'm up to date, all those episodes of me being behind don't matter because now they're in the past. If you want to go see what I was saying in those games, you can. They're all timestamped and they're there for eternity. And no one's going to remember when I recorded them. So there you go. But, I mean, see, we've been talking about it all series. When Siakam is aggressive against Smalls in the mid-post, it's just he's the best version of himself. And he was looking to be aggressive, attacking a laboring Hart. But overall, it was a pretty even first quarter. The score was 30-29 Knicks, and Deuce McBride got things going with 11 points. Jalen Brunson played the entire quarter, but he started off pretty cold, and man, that would continue in that half. He had 5 points in the first on 2 for 7 shooting, 0 for 3 from deep. That's just in the first quarter, of course. DiVincenzo, he was 0 for 3 to start the game, and then he had 10 points out of nowhere. On 4 for 8 shooting and 2 for 5 from 3. He played the whole first quarter. Nobody on the Pacers played the entire first quarter, and nobody on the Pacers scored more than 7 points. Siakam was that guy with 7. Thought Andrew Nembhard got off to a solid start, though. He had this one Euro step attack and a closeout, and then another one where he hit the Jets, decelerated, and then finished strong. 6 points in the first quarter for him. Halliburton with a little bit of a 4 assists in the first kind of deal. But yeah, not much to say in the first. It was still an even game. And then the second quarter is when the Pacers really started blowing it up. And by the way, that Minnesota crowd tonight or last night was unbelievable. And the Pacers one was fantastic as well. By the way, again, 41 people are on Twitter watching this right now, 18 on YouTube. Please come to YouTube. I posted the link to the video on my channel. You can comment there. That is where I want people. So I know Twitter's great. You love it. Or put me on the computer or something. I don't know. It's the place to be. YouTube. Anyway, Siakam continued to cook in the post. He was hitting that turnaround over the right shoulder, cash money. The Pacers made 9 straight shots in that second quarter. We're on a 15-2 run, and Brunson was missing everything. He even missed 2 free throws. All his floaters were short. And I have to say, I mean, you name it, they were playing well for Indiana. Miles Turner, pick and pop shots, buckets. Offensive rebound, bucket. 2 monster dunks, doing his thing. Nesmith, great defense on Brunson on one end, attacking closeouts and making open shots on the other end, and just diving for loose balls. Tyrese Halliburton making things happen on the break, in the pick and roll. Siakam, as I talked about in the post. And then you have a guy like Andrew Nembhard who's playing well. And then off the bench, TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin are just continuing their onslaught. So you got Indiana outscoring the Knicks 32-21 in the second. Miles Turner with 9 in the quarter. Pascal Siakam with 8 in the quarter to go along with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. And Aaron Nesmith even adding 6 points of his own in the second. So at the half, the score was 51-61. The Knicks were still in the game. But to start the second half, man, Aaron Nesmith just doing things on both ends of the floor, rebounding, defending, scoring. And Miles Turner, it wasn't just him picking and popping and scoring. He's able to attack closeouts and put the ball on the floor. And that's a very huge luxury to have for your big, who's been amazing in this postseason, to be honest. A lot of times this series, when Halliburton will put Isaiah Hartenstein in the pick and roll, he'll be in like drop, but he'll be up enough that Halliburton can't just walk into threes. Then Tyrese will pull it back out, and it'll be that late switch where Hartenstein is guarding Halliburton. And I like when Halliburton gets downhill and stuff like that, and he was starting to do that. But sometimes he'll just create enough room for that pullback 3 that he's so good at. But yeah, the thing is, Josh Hart was hurt, and it was just with how big he's been in the postseason for New York, it was really hard to overcome that. Brunson did get going in the third. That was the one bright spot. By the way, in the first half, Jalen Brunson was 2 for 13. So I've been saying everything starts with Brunson for the Knicks. If he's not playing well, they got no chance because he's the sole shot creator. DiVincenzo and Hartenstein and Hart, they'll make some plays here and there, but it's mostly coming from short roll situations or fast breaks. Brunson runs everything. McBride had 15 at half and DiVincenzo had 15 at half, but without Brunson doing stuff, you're not getting anywhere for me. Siakam had 15 at the half. Miles Turner, 11. Halliburton with 8, 4, and 6. So working on a little triple-double watch there. Third quarter, TJ McConnell, man, came in and did what he's been doing all playoffs, turning the corner on those pick and rolls, getting into the mid-range, getting to the basket, playing really tough defense, and then Obi Toppin on fast breaks. I mean, they were just cooking him, absolutely cooking him. It was just only 27-24 in favor of the Pacers in the third quarter. Halliburton at 7 in that one, and TJ also at 7. 14 for Brunson in the third and played the entire thing. DiVincenzo played the entire quarter and didn't even get a shot off. So it was a 13-point game going into the fourth. It did not feel this close. I have to say, it did not feel this close. I never felt like the Knicks were actually going to come back in this game. But in the beginning of the fourth, man, who I thought set a great tone for the Pacers? Isaiah Jackson. Rebounding, finishing around the basket, and just being an athletic presence out there. And when TJ McConnell had a drive and kick to Andrew Nembhard for a 3, that made it a 20-point game. That was off a Miles Turner block, an 8-0 run for the Pacers. They were rolling on all cylinders, and it just wasn't the Knicks game to win. The Pacers were the better team here tonight, and we've got a Game 7, baby. The best 2 words in American team sports. We got 2 in the second round for the 5th time in 6 years. Rapid fire, can I do it? Name them all. Last year, we were blessed to get Celtics 76ers Game 7. There is a live of that game on this channel. And Jason Tatum was absolute. That was the 50 ball. Great game to watch there. That was an absolute classic. And then we got Game 7 between the. What other Game 7 did we get last year? Not in the West, because it was Lakers. Yeah, both of them were 6-game series. Miami played against who in the second round last year? So it was Philly-Boston. Miami versus New York. It was 6 games. Oh, never mind. Yeah, last year wasn't the one. Oh, wow, I'm tripping. 2022, we had Phoenix versus Dallas. That was the Luka game where he sunned them, pun intended. And then we had Milwaukee, Boston, where they just started raining threes. Grant Williams was just raining threes. 2021, we had Philadelphia versus Atlanta. But I think that was it. Because, oh no, we had Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Milwaukee versus Brooklyn. Yeah, and that's obviously a classic. I said for people this guy that's commenting on Twitter, that should be on YouTube, by the way. I'm talking about 2 Game 7s in the second round. I said for the 5th time in 6 years. The only year, I guess, it was last year that it wasn't. 2020, we had Game 7 Raptors, Celtics, and then, of course, Game 7 that we don't like to talk about here between us and the Nuggets. And then 2019, we had Nuggets Blazers Game 7 and Raptors Sixers, the Kawhi game winner. That was awesome. And yeah, 5 in the last 6 years. There you go. Gonna be fun. I got the Knicks. And by the way, I've never seen a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden in my life, except for Game 7, 1970. So none in my time watching basketball. Game 7, 1970, the Frazier game / the Willis Reed game. I did a breakdown of that. It's the subject of episode 3 of Dime Machine, which is my film breakdowns in chronological order in history, so we can find out more about these players, breaking down the film. Go check that video out. The night the Knicks won the championship. It's in that playlist of mine, Dime Machine. But anyway, let's talk about the lines for this game. Briefly for the New York Knicks, who shot 44% from the field, 38 from 3, 69 from the foul line. Alec Burks didn't have a very good one in this one. He had 11 points, but he was 2 for 8 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3. Precious Achiuwa, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks on 5 for 8 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3. Isaiah Hartenstein, 4 points, 7 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal. And I think the only reason he only got 3 shots is because Brunson wasn't creating the same amount of good looks. 1 for 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line. Josh Hart really struggled. 5 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers on 2 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3. And then you have DiVincenzo, who had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 6 for 14 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3. So, I mean, he was okay. Josh Hart, I hope he's better in Game 7, because if he's not, they're in trouble. Deuce McBride had 20 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 turnovers on 8 for 12 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3. Jalen Brunson had 31 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists. He actually ended with 31, which is crazy. On 11 for 26 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3, 6 for 9 from the foul line. So they're going to need an amazing Jalen Brunson performance, in my opinion, to get this win in Game 7. For the Pacers, they shot 54% from the field, 35% from 3. Let's talk about the lines. Ben Shepherd, his stat line doesn't do him justice, but I thought he was really good. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 1 turnover on 1 for 3 shooting, and 1 for 2 from 3. 1 for 2 from the foul line. Isaiah Jackson had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks on 2 for 2 shooting in 12 minutes of play. Obi Toppin had 11 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist on 5 for 6 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3 in 18 and a half minutes. He's just been awesome throughout the playoffs. And speaking of awesome throughout the playoffs, TJ McConnell, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal on 7 for 13 shooting. He's just been spectacular. And then the starters, Aaron Nesmith with 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and great defense on 4 for 8 shooting. And he missed all his threes. 0 for 4 from 3. And one thing that the Pacers did really well, only 8 turnovers. So they took care of the ball. Let's talk about Andrew Nembhard. He had a really good game. He's been just so great in these playoffs. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and so many moments, 1 block, 2, of great defense. 0 turnovers on 6 for 12 shooting, 50%, and 3 for 4 from 3, 75%, 38 minutes played. Miles Turner had a great game as well. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 turnover on 6 for 10 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, 4 of 5 from the foul line. And then Siakam, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a turnover on 11 for 21 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 3 for 4 from the line. For me, my player of the game. He was awesome. Then Halliburton, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks on 6 for 12 shooting and 3 for 8 from 3 in 32 minutes. I think that, you're on the road. You're going to need a big game from Tyrese to get it done in game 7. And we'll see if that happens. But New York, I still got them in game 7. I had Knicks in 6 before the series started, but because of OG Anunoby's absence, I think it's fair that this series is a 7-game series, but I think they're going to pull it out. It is very dependent, though, on the health of Josh Hart, but ultimately it really comes down to Brunson. You're going to need other guys to make shots, but he's going to have to be better. His points tonight, it wasn't it. It didn't really feel like the impactful 31 that he normally has, and he didn't get much going for other guys. So you're going to need much better from him in that pick and roll. But now to finish it off, Dallas and OKC. This was this series is the one that's intrigued me so much. And I have to say, I'm looking like I'm going to be wrong on this one. I underestimated the Dallas Maverick defense. Even though my team played against them, I underestimated them. They might actually be a better defensive team than the Thunder. They might actually be because of their size and athleticism in the front court. That's really what makes the difference for me. A lot of these times in these lineups that the Thunder are playing, Lou Dort is essentially their second biggest guy out there. Lou Dort or SGA. Whereas the Mavs have Derrick Jones. I mean, it's not just that he's tall and has long arms. He gets up to the sky to go up for these rebounds, his low man help, when Chet's at the rim. I mean, these guys and the amount of ground he covers in a split second is so impressive. And then PJ Washington has just put his name up in lights in this postseason. I mean, their contributions have been amazing. No matchup changes, but there was a starting lineup change from Mark Daigneault. He put Isaiah Joe in the starting lineup instead of Josh Giddey. So now Daniel Gafford had to guard Chet. He can't guard Isaiah Joe because he wants to be around the rim. You don't want to chase him around screens and stuff like that. So that was his adjustment. But there was an adjustment from Jason Kidd with Gafford guarding Chet, and that was that he was allowing Lively and Gafford to switch on a SGA. So essentially switching his 5-man onto the 1. And SGA in the beginning, he got downhill and they went up 8-2. And I give Jason Kidd a lot of credit. He pulled the old Phil Jackson, let them figure it out. Don't call timeout. And Luka, I mean, he really controlled this game again. It felt like game 2 in many ways. And Lou Dort, I mean, he wasn't even playing bad defense in any way, but some of the stuff Luka does, what you're seeing in this playoffs is you're seeing some of the best defenders in the world look helpless because these offensive players, and this goes for, any era you talk about, these great offensive players, one of a kind, there's no defense for it sometimes. You just got to hope that your best player plays better than theirs and that you make life tougher for their best player, then they're making life tough for yours. Who really helped, though, was Derrick Jones Jr. with an amazing start with 10 points, knocking down 2 threes in the first quarter, and he has been ice cold in this series from 3, and a lot of it was coming from Luka. 10-point first quarter, a bunch of great passes, but the one thing, and I was looking at this game from an OKC fan's perspective because my pick was OKC in 7, and they're at home. You lose a game 5 at home, you might as well consider the series over unless you have something crazy in game 6. And they're going to need something crazy because they absolutely blew what was a very good opportunity after getting the series tied back coming to Oklahoma City. In the end of the first quarter was 24-22 Dallas. Luka Doncic had 8 in the first. Derrick Jones Jr. had 10, so that made up 18 of their 24. For the Thunder, nobody had over 5 in the first. SGA played the entire thing and was 2 for 6. So he got off to a rough start. The one thing I'll say about the Thunder that they were doing well in the first quarter was that they were crashing the offensive glass, but they were missing a bunch of open threes, especially Lou Dort, more like Lou Dork, 1 for 5 from 3 in the first quarter, 4 for 11 as a team. And so they just needed those to fall and SGA to get going. The fact that they were only down by 2 at that point felt pretty good. But then the Mavericks turned up the gas. 7-0 run to begin the second quarter, and Luka had a pass to Derek Lively from 3/4 court lob. It was quite amazing. Timeout taken by the Thunder. They were down by 13. I was amazed at the way Derrick Jones Jr. was playing, knocking down shots. There was a floater he had when he was rolling in the short roll. But despite the good half from the Mavericks, It was a solid ending to the half for OKC. Jalen Williams had a monster dunk, but they were outscored in the second 30-22. And no Thunder player had more than 6 points in the quarter. Luka had 9 in the quarter and played the entire thing, as did PJ Washington. And here's the thing about PJ Washington. He got 1 shot off in the quarter, but he had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. So he's still finding ways to contribute. And I have to say, Dallas was making life tougher than OKC was. And how were they doing that? Well, eventually their strategy of switching their big onto SGA was making it so that the Thunder were playing more one-on-one, and the Mavericks, they were putting Chet in the action. And it's not that Chet's a bad defender in pick and roll, but you are still defending a pick and roll straight up. And with Chet in drop coverage, Luka Doncic still finds ways to exploit that. And when you send over help, that's when the ball gets moving, and then your defense is in rotation. And one thing I have to give the Mavs more credit for is that, SGA is still going to put the defense in rotation for the Mavs, but the Mavericks' ability to close out and scramble has been, for me, as good as any team besides Minnesota. I mean, it's been amazing the way they've made the Thunder have to make 3-4 passes and are making them overthink every single shot. They're pump faking like crazy. They're passing up mid-ranges and floaters excessively. And you got to give so much credit to guys like Derrick Jones, Gafford, Lively, PJ Washington. But you know who else is buying in on defense and doing these things? Luka and Kyrie Irving. And that's where it begins. When your star players buy in and do that kind of stuff, that's when you see these results. Luka Doncic has made so many good closeouts, has had so many good closeouts in this series, especially in the games that they've won. I'm very impressed with the Dallas Maverick defense that has taken it even a step further in this series. And the way they've gotten back in transition too. Like, that's one thing that's impressed me so much. Because the Thunder, their whole MO, I'm seeing that their half-court offense is not that special. Once you take away the Chet Holmgren pick and pop and you make them play isolation, it's really just, hey, SGA, can you please go ISO every possession? Because J-Dub's bag is still not that deep yet. And Chet, I mean, he's a beast, but he still hasn't really gotten his refined, like, one-on-one, I'm going to score 20 points kind of thing yet. That's going to take time for him. But it was really just give the ball to SGA and get out the way. And he was struggling a good amount. But yeah, and that's a theme in all the games. Whatever team can make the opposing team play more isolation basketball and keep the defense out of rotation is the one that's going to usually win. If you can keep your defense in front, you're going to usually win. And that's when it comes to scheme and stuff, but it's just all personnel based. Like, these coaches, like that adjustment by Jason Kidd, like it's a good I have to say, Jason Kidd doesn't get any credit when things go well. I get he's like, I don't know, he's kind of this villain in ways, but he had a rough start to his coaching career, but he doesn't seem to get credit when things go well. That was a pretty interesting to allow your bigs to switch on to SGA, but at the same time, it only looks good because they have such mobile bigs. The players make it happen in basketball. And Lively and Gafford, impressive. Also, this is another thing that Dallas was doing, and mainly Luka. And it's amazing to watch in the playoffs, like the seriousness of these games, where, like, in the regular season in today's NBA, there are so many avenues in a game where you can get a good shot. Whereas in the playoffs, I'm thinking, like, man, they got to put this guy in the action or they're not going to get a good shot, which tells you the level of defense that you're playing against consistently, which is exactly why I weight the playoffs so highly. And like when I rank players' performances in the playoffs, because you're playing against the best comp every single night, against a game plan and adjust to the games that you beat them. So it's just the best stuff to watch. And Luka constantly was putting Isaiah Joe or Aaron Wiggins in the pick and roll. And that was getting Derrick Jones Jr. in the short roll, and he was making so many things happen. And the Mavericks were switching Luka and Kyrie onto SGA, and that's a mismatch, right? SGA is going to get the step, but then it goes back to which team is going to play better help defense, which team is going to help the helper more. And it starts with Gafford and Lively's rim protection, which the Thunder have as well with Chet, right? But they don't have a backup rim protector. They don't have the same low man help as the Dallas Mavericks do. And that may just be the difference in this series, as well as the Mavericks have 2 stars and the Thunder don't. And people are going to let Kyrie Irving's stats fool them. But whenever Luka, and by the way, Luka Doncic still plays the exact same way. He hasn't changed anything offensively about what he does with Kyrie. It's still extremely take turns. And when Luka's in the game, he's not taking that many turns. He's taking the ball every time. But one thing I love is Kyrie Irving's willingness to be like, Luka, it's your team, and going back to like respecting someone and on the court the way he did LeBron and someone younger than him. I think that's shown. Kyrie Irving has shown so much growth and maturity. I know people are going to say, like, you better respect Luka. It's his team. Who do you think you are? But a guy that has Kyrie Irving's bag and is playing as well as he is in the playoffs could easily just say, Luka, take a possession off. I'm going to go one-on-one. And he's still like, Luka wants to attack Isaiah Joe in the pick and roll, give the ball to Luka, and he's telling everybody else to get out of the way. I'm amazed with the way he has bought in. He's really turned things around. So I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. And he's playing consistent defense every single damn night. SGA, though, would not go out without a fight. He took over that whole third quarter. And as I said, it was just SGA every single time down. And I just felt like every possession meant so much. And that's when the Mavs started getting a bunch of offensive rebounds. You started to see their athleticism. They went up 14, 15 points, but OKC still responded. Kyrie was efficient, as I said, but throughout the game, it was just Luka versus SGA ball. Who could get a better shot? And I thought Dallas's defense in the half court was a bit better. You needed some more J-Dub, though. You needed more J-Dub making open shots and then rebounding going into that fourth. The third quarter was 25-23 in favor of the Mavs. Nobody scored over 6 points in the quarter for Dallas. SGA scored 14 points, 14 of the 23 for the Thunder, and nobody else scored more than 4 for them in that quarter. So all came down to the fourth, and Luka took over attacking Case and Wallace and Chet in the action. Again, they weren't playing bad defense, but Luka's just too big, too strong. Kyrie had a tip offensive rebound out to Luka for 3 that made it 89-71 and led to a timeout for the Thunder. You thought the game was over there, but it wasn't. 8-0 run led by SGA became a 10-0 run, and J-Dub started getting to the rim finally. But then PJ Washington, he had this 5 huge points, one off an offensive rebound and one off a corner 3. And I have to say, SGA got caught over helping so many times in this game. I think he's had really great rotations and help throughout the playoffs, but he just went a little too far in the over helping category and just left guys open too much. And that hurt. So he doesn't get a full pass for me. And that comes with experience. It just comes with experience. It's his first time in the second round. It's his first time being the number 1 option. And I think OKC, as I said, they were second guessing a lot of shots. And Derek, one time, Chet Holmgren, he finally got caught with that slower release of his. He's got a slow release. He's got a little hitch. Derek Jones Jr. sent his shot and went coast to coast for a dunk off of it. And the Dallas Mavericks, came out. It was an even fourth quarter, but took game 5 by a score of 104-92 to take a 3-2 lead in the exact same series pattern as the Clippers series. Crazy. It looks like I was wrong. And it's so wild because I'm Mr. Values experience, in the playoffs. And even though PJ Washington has no playoff experience, Derek Jones has not played too relevant of a role on playoff teams. He did. I'm pretty sure he played some role for that Heat team, though. But OKC, if you look at their bench, it's a bunch of guys that are fourth year or younger. Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams in his second year. Casey Wallace is a rookie. Like these guys, Chet Holmgren in his first year. Like these guys have not even smelled playoff basketball. So I underestimated that part. I underestimated that. And I did underestimate Dallas's interior defense. I think that and then having a second star has made the difference. And in this game, Luka was better. I think Luka was better in games 2 and 5. I think SGA was better in game 4 and 1. I think game 3, SGA, you could argue, was better in that one too, but Dallas got more help then. And I love Jalen Williams. Let's read the lines and we'll talk about it now. By the way, the slower pace favors Dallas. And I think they're trying to slow the pace down in this particular series. And the OKC role players are just not hitting enough. Let's read the lines for the Dallas Mavericks, the victorious Dallas Mavericks. Now just got to finish the job. 1 game away from going to the conference finals for the second time in 3 years. Oh, Tim Hardaway Jr. See, for example, Tim Hardaway Jr., somebody who's had his fair share of ups and downs this season, but he's been in the playoffs. That matters when you play against a team like the Thunder. 5 points, 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. Very random, but Jaden Hardy got 15 minutes in this game. And even though he shot 1 for 5 and 0 for 2 from 3, he made some things happen. 2 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Josh Green, man, I think he's had a really solid series that might not be able to be told in the stats, but offensive rebounds, timely threes, solid D, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal on 2 for 6 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3. And then Derek Lively, a double-double, 11 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, just 1 turnover on 3 for 4 shooting, 5 for 6 on the foul line. He's been awesome off the bench. I mean, what an addition. What a pick. Daniel Gafford played 25 minutes. He's had a really good series, 9 points, 7 boards. His defense was awesome. 4 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from the foul line. How about Derek Jones Jr.? I mean, the kind of contributions that you need in Game 6 if you're a Thunder fan from your role players. 19 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers on 7 for 9 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line, and has to guard the best player on the other team all night long. Amazing. PJ Washington, one of his more calm games, but he still had a double-double with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists to go along with a steal on 4 for 9 shooting, 2 for 7 from 3 in 37 minutes. And then the stars, Kyrie, very mild stat line. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover on 5 for 11 shooting and 2 for 2 from 3 in 39 minutes. I think it was still very good, though. And I think just because he didn't shoot a lot, he didn't need to shoot a lot. He went with the flow of the game, and that was Luka ball. And Luka had another triple-double, but this time he was a monster. 31, 10, and 11. 1 block, 3 turnovers, really good closeouts, 12 for 22 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. He was amazing. All the credit in the world to the Dallas Mavericks. 1 game away from the conference finals. And now for the Thunder, Cason Wallace. 27 minutes played. He was 1 for 7 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3. They just needed better shot making if he was going to play that many minutes. Josh Giddey actually scored 11 points in 11 minutes, but his defense is so bad. He just doesn't care on defense. He's just one of those guys. He's an actual defensive liability. 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. He did have 3 rebounds and 2 assists to go along with it. Aaron Wiggins played 11 minutes, had 2 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal on 1 for 2 shooting. It was pretty quiet. They're attacking him in the pick and roll. Jalen Williams from Arkansas, he can't be a backup 5 next year. I mean, that's another thing that's been really evident in the series is they have a backup 5, and the Thunder really don't. Jalen Williams from Arkansas is too small. 3 points on 1 for 3 shooting, and those were all his shots. Isaiah Joe, he started, and it was a no-show. 2 for 9 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3. 6 points, 3 rebounds. They needed better. Lou Dort, man, his lack of shooting has really hurt as well. He's gotten so much better shooting the ball, but he's got to keep on getting better. 12 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals on 4 for 11 shooting, 2 for 8 from 3. The Thunder as a team shot 10 for 40 from 3, 25%. That's no good. Just 8 for 10 from the foul line, 42.5% from the field, whereas the Mavs shot 53% from the field, 40 from 3, 10 for 13 from the line, 77% there. So better in every category but free throws. Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Wiggins, Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace. These guys need to make their shots in Game 6, or they got no chance. Chet Holmgren, 13 points, 4 rebounds. 4 rebounds is not quite enough. 1 assist, especially when he's in drop coverage. 1 block, 1 turnover on 5 for 11 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3. I think some of the threes Chet can take are ill-advised, and I think he's been okay in this series. He hasn't been great. He was awesome in the first round. His defense is good, but offensively he leaves a lot to be desired. But again, he's in his first year playing basketball in the NBA. So, we got to cut him some slack. He's not a star yet. Jalen Williams, speaking of the same kind of conversation, he right now just doesn't really have many moves. He has a hard crosser and he stops on a dime and pulls. He's got no real counters. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. In the fourth quarter, he had 8 out of those, 16 points? Out of his 12. I mean, come on, he had 4 points in 3 quarters besides that. 6 for 13 from the field. And again, he's not 0 for 3 from 3. No free throw attempts. He's not shooting enough. I get it. You're letting SGA cook. And there was no time in the game where I was watching it and I was like, man, SGA needs to get, Jalen Williams needs to get the ball more. But he's not creating enough good shots in one-on-one. And then SGA, I thought he played really well. I have nothing bad to say about him. He's playing well in every game, except for the overhelping on D. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 3 turnovers on 12 for 22 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. This is it for OKC. I don't think they're going to win, man. I think that they've put themselves in a rough spot, and now it's over. I think Dallas has shown that their experience is going to win out, that Luka's probably still the best player in the series, even though SGA is not that far off, and having a second star mattered, and their front court was bigger and better. And you know what? OKC's got years to go. Like, they're fine. Like, it's more of a win now moment for the Mavs, even though Luka's young too, and he's still got his best years ahead. Kyrie Irving, it's kind of win now. So that's how I feel, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. I hope you enjoyed the video and the episode. All games caught up now. And what are we going to do next? I guess tomorrow is Dallas versus OKC. I probably won't be live for that. I'm just going to go live on Sunday night, talk about all 3 games, and it's going to be great. Peace. And now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. Super chat's turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Peace. Yo. My bad. What's up, guys? All right, let's see what we got. Mr. E says, can't believe the Pacers forced a Game 7. How come? From the rebuild after the bubble to potential Eastern Conference Finals for the Pacers 4 years later is wild. Uzier Khan says, live but no W or I. TC says, Dime is back, baby. Shout out TC. Mel TV Live, what's going on, Mel? Says, comment, baby. Indy looks too good. They win Game 7. Uh-oh. Denver. Mike Malone, Worcester Academy. Mel TV Live, Worcester Academy. Dime it up. We need Big Nug to lock down tomorrow, Mel. He's got to add some people to Nugget Island. Wheezy says, my dog. What's going on? James Martin. Kyle's Takes. What's going on, Kyle's Takes? Mamad. B-Ball Fever. Is bro wearing a Clippers shirt? Are you new here? I wear a Clippers shirt every night. Celtics really have a cakewalk to the finals, man. Shaking my head. I know it's sad, Jackson Matisic. They need some more adversity. He's a Clippers fan. Just read the caption. That's on me, big dog. Damn right it's on you. Clippers, Celtics legend Marcus Morris. That's right. More of a Clippers legend than Celtics. Marcus Morris run got to be the most random thing of the playoffs so far. Crazy because Morris played better than Russ by a huge margin in the offs. Shit's dumb tough. I mean, yes, but I mean, Senior was in Russ. The problem with Russ is you got to put him in a very specific role. Yo, dropper, haircut, dropper. That shit gets me weak. Fucking with the wavy type shit. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that, but no haircut. If the Celtics lose in the finals, I'll be a happy man. I feel you. My uncle would too. Friend was making fun of me for rooting for the Cavs. As Michiganders, we're supposed to hate Ohio. I feel you. Al Horford is in the Hall of Very Good. Hey, man, if he wins a chip, he might have a case because of his Florida career. It's still fuck OSU till I die, though. I feel you. Niang makes me wish I was 6'8". I may have been able to make the league. I feel you. Niang is up there for the greatest streaky player of all time, but doesn't beat Tim Hardaway Jr. Go Mavs. What's going on, Kenny K? Thunder legend Al Horford. Think Jared Allen is definitely gone. Another year of either being injured during the playoffs / being a no-show. Okay, that's a little harsh after he was playing so great. He got injured, and then last year he was a no-show. He's only like 26. In my opinion, I think Garland and Mitchell can't work. What define can't work? Can't win a championship? Because they just made it to the second round. And that's not easy to do. Garland swapped for a two-way guard would be ideal. Okay. 5 conference finals and no rings is wild. Yes, but they're led by a 20-year-old. Like Jason Tatum has been like, he's literally my age, guys. So like guys that age do not lead teams to rings like that. It's just not a frequent thing. Get those likes up, y'all. Damn right, get those likes up. 105 people in here, but 72 of you guys are coming from Twitter. I mean, come on, guys from Twitter. Come to YouTube. A maximum of like 30-something on YouTube tonight. Is it me, but both teams won a close game, a 2 blowout type games. It's like most times one team has an off game and the other has its clicking. Wolves versus Nuggets I'm referring to. I want the Game 7 to be a nail biter. I have the Wolves, but I really want to see a great game more. Really have the Wolves? I kind of expected Jalen to struggle eventually. He's had an awesome series, and with the Pacers back against the wall, they was going to make the best adjustments possible at this point. McBride was balling out in the first half. Good defense and scored efficiently. Cavs bit off more than they can chew / they did what they could, but that was all that they could do. Jonah Kim asked Dime, what do you think of the MJ Ant comparison? I think it's a little far-fetched, and we got to stop. Just let Ant be Ant. He has some athletic moments that make him look like Jordan, but I think the only person that really reminds me of Jordan, like with the way he moves, is Kobe. And just the fluidity and the way that they move, the wiggle. They have a little more wiggle to their game. It's a little more aesthetically pleasing. A little more is an understatement. I love Anthony Edwards, but Kobe and Michael Jordan to me like have the most aesthetically pleasing games in the history of the game. Kyrie Irving is up there as well. But if we're talking above the rim and below the rim, just in all sorts of facets, I go into those guys. I just think comparing guys to Michael Jordan is just a losing battle. All the series been good in the second round. Yeah, I'd say so. Tibbs stayed running his players to the ground. He should take notes from Pop. I knew this conversation was going to come up soon. But he got injured on a specific play, though, Terminator, right? Ant is very comparable to MJ. He's the same age as rookie MJ, and I think Ant could potentially be better. Wow. We'll see about that. It's a very high bar, Kilpie. Josh Hart injury decimating the Knicks roster. Ant makes me want to root for the Timberwolves. He's like when I watch Kobe a little bit. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's awesome. Tibbs has his guys practice too hard. I heard that's why they get injuries with that constant wear and tear. That happened when he coached the Bulls. Are you allergic to THs, Kilpie? Jason Kidd's contract extension was well-deserved. Jay Will yammed on Gafford, but that Gafford gets them stronger into paint like Tyson Chandler did during the Dirk chip year. The amount of, man, talk about throw some D's on that shit. Jonas got crazy bounce. He almost jumped over Jones got crazy bounce. He almost jumped over PG when he was trying to tip dunk. A PG was jumping for the rebound. PG just left the ground, and Jones almost cleared him. Just win, baby, podcast. You must be a Raiders fan, right? That's got to be a Raiders fan. Just win, baby. You know, that's that Al Davis, huh? OKC should have traded for sides at the deadline. Yep, now they know their lesson. Oh, that's the last comment. W conference finals either way, to be honest. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. Thank you so much. Peace and have a great night. Have a great weekend. The best 2 words in American team sports, Game 7.